Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gold Gaming. This is Bane here doing another Battlefleet Gothic video. It's been a while since I've covered Battlefleet Gothic and I thought it was about time that I got around to talking about Chaos. The reason it's taken me so long to talk about Chaos is generally Chaos haven't been the most exciting faction to play, and I've got to be honest with you, the reason for that is they're very much about kiting the other factions in the game. So there are two major builds, and we started off this first video by showing you one of the builds that I'm currently running. I'm only actually running one ship here at this time. I actually lost my other ships during another battle against some Eldar, and so I'm just running my battle cruiser at the moment, my Ordinance battle cruiser I should say. And you can see that I'm currently not that upgraded. I don't have many skills yet on this particular cruiser. I only recently got it again, so it's only level 3. However, what I am running is a big Ordnance spec. Now I've run I've run fighters out right at the start, because that's, if you are running Ordnance, it's always sensible to launch your fighters early in the game just to protect you from incoming torpedoes. If you've played Orcs and you have played Imperials, you know exactly what I'm on about. And as you can see, the fighters will actually stay with you as long as they're alive, giving you cover against boarding assaults and other items. So here we're actually running Ordnance, and as you can see, I've got my fighter wings up from my battle cruiser, and I am actually just using bombers here to take out ships. Now, Ordnance at the moment, there's a lot of debate about it. Is it broken, especially for Chaos and Eldar? I don't believe it is. I think it is good, but I don't think it's unstoppable. I think you need to adapt your playstyle, and because you don't know what you're going to be facing, it adds a little bit of randomness in this game. So what I'm doing here is I'm just using my Chaos Bombers to kind of do a lot of damage while trying to kite the fleet. One of the skills that I do like to take with running Ordnance carriers is the recharge on my combustion gauge, so that way I can actually just have 2 boosts if I need to. With Chaos, I tend to find that it's all about kiting damage and staying away. I'm not doing a very good example here as I'm getting attacked, and I do take some damage, and you can see I'm actually going to probably cop this shield disruptor here. Not that it really matters at this point. Oh, it's actually a plasma bomb, I should say. So I copped a bit of damage there, and that was my mistake for not really paying attention to what was going on. You can see that my fellow player, which is Draconians once again, is currently using the other build that we'll talk about today, which is the Lance build. And so he's running 2 line cruisers, upgraded with lances. He's got the skills that affect all Chaos Lances, so he's got the range increase, the critical damage when using lock-on, increase, so you've got 300% crit during lock-on, or 300% chance I should say of getting crits when locking on. And what we tend to use with our Chaos is we tend to use things like Stasis Bomb to try and block people off from attacking us, while pounding them with either Ordnance or Lances. What I will say, if you are playing 2 Chaos players, it is quite nice to have Lance and Ordnance. You can run everyone as Ordnance, but if you do come across something like an Elder fleet setup, we do realise the Elder have some of the strongest fighters, so having the both, it doesn't mean Lances are not effective, by the way, by Elder either, but it can be nice again if you come up against another Ordnance fleet to be a mixed Ordnance and Lances, because you can do quite a bit of damage. So it does work having Lance and Ordnance together, and you can see that the Imperials and I think it's another Chaos player actually that we're playing against here are having troubles trying to catch up. As you can see, the torpedo spreads coming across the screen, and you can see me. Now, unfortunately, I manoeuvred my ship because it's a bit slow in the way of Draconians here, so if you could hear the chat, I'm actually saying sorry, didn't mean to get you stuck. I am using my boost to try and get him away, and then I'm going to drop my own stasis down. So this ship here, this poor Imperial ship, is really going to have to, the player's going to have to really work to get out. He's tried to drop something in front of me. I've realised that I've shifted Ron again. And again, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it out. I'm going to try, but it's not going to happen. And again, I now get frozen, which is my mistake again. So this is not me playing our best, I'm going to be honest with you, but these things do happen, and Draconians has been caught in one as well. But on the plus side, they're also caught in a stasis. So either way, it's not all bad. My shields are up anyway, so I'm not doing too bad. And again, I'm watching another wave of bombers as I take them in there, and I've still got my fighter escort up from the beginning, because I just think you're not going to know right at the start. Now this is something to watch out for. We nearly had a mid collision there from Dracanis boosting near me, so do watch out for that as well. And what I would say is you see the things I've actually got on automatic casters. So Ordinance reload is important if you're playing Ordinance carriers. Duh. Same as if you're using torpedoes on Imperials, using the I think it's kind of like a lightning strike, shall we say, the Ordnance reload is quite important. It does give you a significant cooldown on your Ordnance abilities, so getting those fighters up. Obviously the upgrade for fighter refueling is going to help as well if you're running an Ordnance setup. In regards to what else to take upgrade wise, well, obviously anything that's going to increase your survivability if you're running an Ordnance ship. Remember, your aim is not to use the weapons as much as it is to use the fighter craft, so you can really set your Ordnance ship either up for speed or you can set it up for tanking depending on what you want to do. So again, have a look at things like that in regards to your setup. So essentially I'm just laying in still with the battlecruiser. The battlecruiser, the Styx, generally a good battlecruiser. I'm sure if you've already played Chaos for a while now, but you know there are weaknesses to playing Chaos, and the fact is you just don't have the kind of survivability that us Imperial Orc ships do. However, if you are playing Elder, I would advise you to ram the hell out of those buggers because they're really weak as always. So even with a Chaos Cruiser, although you'll take damage, you'll still do quite a lot of damage and you're still reasonably good at ramming. But yeah, Chaos, it's almost hard for me to watch playing Chaos back. And if you played the game, you'll know exactly what I mean. The problem with Chaos though is, and I suppose it does fit the Battlefleet Gothic strategy and the tabletop game, they're just so... They're so kite orientated, you know, your whole premise is to stay away, and I guess if you're playing Chaos it can be frustrating because it's not exactly fun to have to try, and especially if you're playing Orcs, you haven't taken the right tools for the job, like I mentioned in my earlier video. It can be really boring to actually try and chase Chaos around a map, and I understand why some players get frustrated when they see a Chaos fit, and they're like, oh, really? You know, do I have to literally try and follow this guy around the map? And it is boring, and I tend to find that once you kill a certain amount of shits in Chaos, people just give up and they'll warp out, and I think we will see a case of that. I can't remember if it's in this video or in the next video, but we'll see some cases of that where people just basically give up because, you know, it's got to the point of this is boring, and you'll often get comments in chat saying boring, and you know, I quite like a bit of roleplay as well, you know, and I really love when people take the effort to say, oh, I'm playing the Orcs, wag, and you know, and all of that. But you know, how upsetting must it be, you know, playing a Chaos player? It's frustrating. Weaknesses: don't get caught close, don't get jumped into, don't get tractor cannons, don't get zap cannons. Protect your generators as always. You don't want to lose. Protect your engines. You definitely don't want to lose your engines. You lose your engines in a Chaos ship, you are pretty much dead. So try and keep yourself, you know, up and running here. Just look at the damage Ordnance does. Ordnance, I don't know. A lot of people say Ordnance needs nerfing, especially the Chaos. I don't know if it does. I just think it's one of those things. And I think you have to kind of live with that's their playstyle. They Chaos, they have two builds, as I said, Lances, which are good, or alternatively the actual Ordnance bombers. Assault boats still handy to use if you want assault actions on enemy ships. They're very good assault boats against Eldar if you can get them there, and obviously Eldar, if you're playing against Eldar battleship, the difficulty there of course is the fact that they have good fighters, so multiple Ordnance ships are going to still get through, so there is quite a lot of good stuff you can do with them. Favors is a difficult one. The ship is not currently armed with favors, but I'm going to, and I know people are going to disagree with me again, but I have tried out all of the Chaos favors. Okay, I've even tried Nurgle, and while Nurgle is fun for those times when people get close to you, generally it's my opinion that the strongest favor is Slanesh, and I'm going to explain why before everyone shouts me down and says Zench, Zench, Zench. Slanesh is good because in the situation where you get someone that does manage to get close to you, or you screw up, you can instantly disable all their abilities, and that, if you're thinking of Elder, for example, that even includes their pulsars. So that is a very powerful tool to have. Now, a lot of people would disagree with me, and I've not got a problem. You know, you can disagree with me, that's fine. But in my opinion, you're wrong. In my opinion, Slanesh is strong so because having it on 2 ships, especially if you're taking 2 ships, or even if you play in skirmish 2v2 and you've got 4 disables, those disables can be changed and they work. They change. You can't resist those chaining of disables, and that is another problem if you're going chaos. It can be very boring. Oh look, my ship is now completely pointless. I've brought this fantastic battleship along and I cannot actually use any of its abilities. Yay for the chaos player. Clap hands. Well done. So Slanesh is very, very strong, and I can understand why people get, as I said, get frustrated. Zench is good, and I'm not going to deny that, especially on Lance ships. I mean, Ordinance ships are okay, but especially on Lance ships as well. You know, Zench is a very powerful setup to have because obviously you're invisible, and obviously you're not being detected. The accuracy goes down, and so that is really good for stopping really good shooters against you. But it doesn't make you invincible. You know, yes, it is an edge against perhaps Elder, but it doesn't make you invincible. If you're playing Orcs, Zench isn't certainly going to help you. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, all right, yeah, but we can put the, you know, the dummy beacon out and instantly swap places with it, so we can get ourselves out of the jam that way, Bane. Absolutely, you can. But in my experience of playing lots of, and I've actually got 2 Chaos Admirals. All right, so I've got 2. I've got an Ordnance Admiral and a Lance Admiral. This is my Ordnance Admiral. I was leveling up at the time. In my opinion, Zench, although good, you won't find that ability as useful as often as you can. Every game I play, I can use Slanesh to a degree, but I can't say the same of Zench. And so, you know, it's difficult for me. I generally think that Slanesh is the way to go with favours. Khorne is good. You know, if you want to go down the route of having, you know, good troops, then Demonic Incursion is good with Khorne. But then again, is it any different from anything else? You know, yeah, alright. Every faction seems to have that. Terminator Strike from the Imperials, yeah? Okay. Bill Tan, as I play with my Eldar, you know, with the Caleb and Chicane attack, you know, so Orcs. So every faction seems to have a version of the Khorne, like, troop enhancement. Nurgle gives you troop enhancement as well, which is good, and it gives you that horrible cloud. But again, if you're playing Chaos, based on the ships that you have, if you're playing Chaos up close, with the exception of the cruisers, maybe, with the exception of not the battle cruisers, the cruisers mainly, or the battleship, I don't see Nurgle working for you. Nurgle on a battleship, yes, because the battleship is slow. But again, even with Nurgle, the kind of stuff you're going up against, you're not as strong as an Imperial battleship. You know, you certainly don't want to go up against an Orc battleship up range close, because they'll shred you, even with Nurgle. So, really, I find Nurgle a really difficult one. And don't get me wrong, this is the state of the game. I love Nurgle. Nurgle 1, I play Nurgle in 40k itself. They're my favourite. That's my favourite faction in Chaos. So I have my Marines are covered in, you know, putty and green stuff full of Nurgly bits because it's just so strong. But in BFG, you know, it's not as strong as you think. And again, why shouldn't it be? So I've got to say, out of all the favours, Slanesh every time. And as I said, disagree with it. If you guys want to disagree with it, that's fine. Put that in the channel. Give me some feedback. But I think Slanesh is the way to go. And we'll see what other people think. But you know, generally Chaos, and even like I'm watching this now, and you guys are watching this as well with me, and I'm thinking, God, this is boring. There's no grit to it. Do you know what I mean? There's no excitement in this current setup. So, you know, we need to let the game developers, I don't know, do they need to change Chaos? That would be the question that I ask you guys to come back and say in the comments. Do they need to change Chaos? I think they do. I think they need to make it more exciting. But you might disagree. You might enjoy Chaos exactly the way they are. A lot of people saying Chaos is one of the strongest factions because of the way they're set up, and they could be right. I'm not gonna argue that point. But from my experience, with Chaos, it can come down to luck. You know, if you lose your engines, as I said earlier, you're out. But generally, you know, you can afford to sit back in Chaos. Out of most ships range, there's a few Imperial ships that can give you some trouble at longer ranges. But generally, at most ships range, firing on Lance shots with the Lances, firing on Ordnance with the Ordnance. And generally, unless you specifically know what you're facing and you're countering that type of Chaos fleet, you're gonna find it problematic. and you can see that in this battle here. I'm using my Lance Cruiser in this one in particular here. So, and you can see that we're just piling on Lance shots. So one after the other, and I don't know. I just don't know whether it's fun to play either, really. In the sense of, yes, it's fun for me because I win, but is it fun for the opposing player? So that's my views on Chaos. Two good builds, Lances, and Ordinance. Use the stasis bombs as always. They're good on whatever faction you can take them on. Use plasma bombs if you need to. Use even shield disruption bombs. Generally, I can't say there's anything bad in those kind of setups. Always, in my opinion again, must take the recharge consumables on Chaos, just because you need your engine power to get away, and it's a great ability to have. And you can see I'm running Khorne here because I do like to play for fun. We thought we'd play Khorne with this Admiral here. So this Admiral is my Lance Admiral playing Khorne, just because I did find that it was quite fun to get in there sometimes when I was getting close and put demonic lightning strikes on. Although again, is it as useful as Slaanesh? No. If I had the choice again, starting out, then I would probably choose Slaanesh again. So, and the thing is, I don't even really like the way the Slaanesh ships look. I'm going to be honest with you. Heresy, people say, but I don't think they're that great. So, yeah, overall, not a bad setup. This is Bane as always. Give me your thoughts, guys. What you think of Chaos? I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. It's not been that exciting, I know, but give me your feedback. This is Bane as always. Signing out. See you in the next episode. Battlefleet Gothic.